Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another episode of the show, Trek Wednesday. Start date is irrelevant. Date and time is irrelevant. We all know you're a global foundation, a global audience, a global community. Let's just listen in and see what we have tonight. We want to thank Alan for joining us yet again onto the show. 2 back-to-back cameos. What will Alan have to show us tonight here? Stay tuned on the show. You'll be able to see what Zeph has put out. I'm joined here by our Chief Logistics Officer, Captain Timberwolf. Give us a howl, good sir.
Oh!
Our Chief of Intelligence, Captain SarcasmDetector.
Greetings.
Our Chief Science Officer, Captain Snipey 47 Alpha.
Hello.
And our Chief of Chiefy Tactics, Captain SO Stinky B. Come on, brother.
Hello.
Stinky cheese. You know what, just coming back onto you, we keep saying we're going to do the PvP phenom. We actually have a couple PvP players out there that's going to be on the show next week, along with one other fellow person that's going to be on here discussing it. We'll give everybody an update on an after show with that. It's something special. It's going to be related to Trek, but also to real life. Stay tuned on it with the after show. And right now, we're going to jump straight into this. The Continuum has been revealed. That little trailer, that little teaser that our Chief Intelligence Officer has brought to us has been revealed. For those who somehow didn't catch it or missed it, go watch the previous episode, and then we can say, haha, yes, we were all in on it. But just going over here briefly for everybody, starting with Timber. What do you think of, well, first explain what your involvement is with the Continuum and the message you want to bring to everybody else on there on why this is going to be a good thing for the community.
Well, I mean, as far as what I'm offering, a lot of my viewers have seen my shades for DPS, which, right now, of course, is my Odyssey that's FAW and Plasma and, all that extra cheese that pisses off Spencer. But it's going to entail a lot more coming. I've got a science torpedo boat that focuses on gravity wells. I've got a torpedo boat coming. But DPS is not my focus. It's not the focus of the Continuum. And that's something we made clear when we first started this. And my goal is just to help make the player base better at the queues and Foundry missions instances, just so that they're more effective. You can have a crazy build and still be effective, and I might not know them all, but I know who knows them. But I try to explore a build that interests me. I get the help on building it, and then I just show it off. And half the time, the videos that I post, they are just completely random. That they get more views on being hilarious than they do on actually giving out information. But at the end of the day, the community is more than just DPS. You got to feel like you're having fun. And every day that I'm playing, whether I'm chasing max DPS or whether I'm, listening to someone sing on TeamSpeak while I do a random mission, I'm having fun, and I just want to spread that joy of playing the game, because we have so many things in this game that piss us off and make us not want to play, and you got to find what joy you can in every situation, including this game.
Thank you, good sir. Captain SarcasmDetector, I know we're going to get to you in a bit on this here, but just briefly, what do you think about the Continuum, and what is your contribution to it?
Oh boy, I think I'm wearing multiple hats in the Continuum. First of all, I am representing myself and my YouTube channel, which, if you guys are familiar with it, I do a lot of just having fun videos where I put a ship together, go into ISA, go into different queues, and just put some rocking music or some pop music or whatever it is, and just have fun. Other videos, I'm going through new ships, build them up, just show them how the ship looks with different shield visuals, different builds, sometimes quirky builds. And of course, we have this information that I have that Previously, I used to write down guides, like typed out guides, and put them on different wikis and different locations. Now I just put them in videos. So I have all this knowledge that I have acquired in the game that I like to share with people as well. So that is, as myself, of course, like I said, I have multiple hats on. I'm part of the show, which is also part of the Continuum, and also part of the DPS channels. Now, to be clear, like Timberwolf has said, this isn't an initiative by the DPS channels. The DPS channels are just part of the Continuum, and the part that they play is that there is a community. So each person in the Continuum brings with them their audience, their particular set of community, their reach, and it brings it together. And it's something where you can reach a much wider audience than just being alone by themselves. Like you saw in the trailer, there's all these fonts of knowledge, but they're all spread out like little points, little lights in a dark universe. What we're doing is bringing that all together and making one big light. That is the Continuum.
Well said, sir. Well said. Captain Snipey, 47 Alpha, bring it up to speed. Your contributions to the Continuum, and what do you feel it's about?
Well, geez, how can I just top what was just been said so perfectly? Well, my basic contribution to the Continuum is that I did much of the visuals for the teaser and the trailer. I didn't string it together. That's FalcFX's magic touch. With After Effects, it did that. But I dug around in demo record for quite a long time to get much of the scenes. I was also helping to coordinate the setting up, and there's a lot of elements in setting up STO Continuum. Like we've only really just put the name out there. We've set up some basic infrastructure around it, but we really haven't kicked off yet what we intend to do with it. So it's there is some big things coming for STO Continuum in the very near future. But under I sit under the DPS channels, so I am an operator in the in those channels. I guess if one of the founding entities, I sit within the DPS channel community, but I also help support all the other entities, including the show, in the STO Continuum.
And just to point out, Snipey also does his own YouTube videos, which are pretty freaking awesome as well.
They are.
Yeah, we especially love it whenever you
thank you, Ken, but it's not an official channel. It's just a bit of a hobby I like to do every now and then.
But that hobby brings us a lot of good information, especially where things are or are not working as intended. So we use that as a resource as well for in the community to be able to educate them as well as ourselves on what's happening here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for that. Spencer, give us the goods.
Well, my main contribution, Snipey would say, would be ramming into a Shazar while he was recording.
Oh, it's beautiful. Like the PvP scene in the trailer is now entrenched for life. It can never change. It's SOB's epic piloting skills in PvP with, in such a maneuverable ship like a pilot ship. You think you'd be able to maneuver around a Shazar, but he just goes bang straight into it. It's recorded for everyone to see forever. Love it. QQ.
All right, but Spencer, give us your take on the Continuum itself. I mean, just briefly here, we're just getting ready to move on, but give us your take on the Continuum and why you feel it's a good thing for the community as a whole.
The entire idea behind it is, coordinating all of the information, all of the sources together for people to easily find, which is something that has always been lacking. When I first started playing the game, I had nowhere to go to get all of the information, and I'd hate to be a new player right now before Continuum trying to get all of the information together.
Short, sweet, directly to the point, and nails it. Thank you. Now, one thing I would actually like to say is that with the continuum itself, it kind of formalizes this loose alliance that we've all had. I mean, even for people who aren't officially members of the continuum, we would support them or give a shout out to them if they're doing something good. Now with the continuum, we feel like we actually have more of a stronger voice behind it. So we can look at people like Luke Critter or like the Reddit Fleets and see what they're doing there and posting and say, you know what, you guys are doing a great job as far as getting information out to the community as well as entertaining them in a positive manner. We like to give you guys a shout out like that. Things like what Zeph is doing here. This is blowing my mind awesome. We want to have this highlighted and showcased. And if we have talent here, or at the very least some resources that people can use in order to bolster their efforts, we'd swing it that way. Continuum gives us a structure by where we can organize our talents and resources better while still maintaining our individuality. And that's one of the things that I personally like and why I want to be on board with the continuum here, and why if something is as loosely grouped together like the show is. You know, we're informal, we're off the cuff. These are people from different aspects of the game coming together. The continuum is just only going to magnify that tenfold, if not more. So I thank you all very much for that, as for your take on it. Zeph, what do you think, based off of what you're hearing so far? What are you thinking about the continuum itself, the concept of it?
The concept of it is solid. Like, I've been hanging out with you guys for the past week and watching your videos collectively through the site, and for me personally, it's actually helped me understand the inner workings of, for example, ship builds. Yesterday's video that Sarcasm dropped was very informative, helped me understand the power transfer and all that. But I'm already seeing the effects. Like, I thought I knew a lot of what there is behind a ship build, and I'm realizing that there isn't. There's a lot of different tricks to the trade that you need to learn, and like in a week's time, I've already increased my average DPS like almost 10K. So, and it's not all about DPS, but it's just proof that you can go to this and actually view view the knowledge that has been put out by you guys and actually learn from it.
Thank you, sir. And as you just pointed out, that Sarcasm had put out a new video titled EPS and DPS. We would like to hear from our Chief Intelligence Officer a little bit more on what this video does and how it breaks down everything, so that people who use energy builds can do even better than what they were doing before. Take it away, Chief Intelligence Officer.
Okay, well, starting off, the initial information, the spreadsheet that I did and I talked about, all that math, was something, it was based on something Agrisil did about a year ago. Not a year ago, I think it was like 9-10 months ago or so. He had a spreadsheet which was basically a damage calculator, which took various different elements, including distance, buffs, skill rating, and the power transfer rate and weapon power buffs. And you basically could take a build from STO Academy, dump it in there, and it'll tell you what the damage would be, or what the theoretical damage would be. So I didn't quite copy his stuff, but I took that knowledge and I built these spreadsheets to help explain something very basic, but as someone else put it, is about as clear as mud to most of the players in the game. A lot of people don't understand what EPS is, what power transfer, what the power transfer rate is, what overcapping is. So I decided that I can probably explain it really well. So whereas Tom Agrisil, he spent about a month working on his spreadsheet, I was working for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days. It took me 5 days to get this spreadsheet together, and it does not cover everything. It's still very, very basic, and we're just talking about the actual power levels. There's no distance involved. There's no other buffs involved. And basically, I described what EPS is, what power transfer is, and what overcapping is, and then I walked them through the spreadsheet, walked them through the math of it, and showed them what the difference is, what effect power transfer rate has on your damage. And that is the video. It took about 5 or 6 hours to actually make the video, and it's only half an hour. And there you have it. And it was I would say it was a screaming success. Before I posted the video, some of the consoles I mentioned in the video were at 47 million EC on the exchange. 10 minutes later, after I posted the video, the cheapest one was 99 million, which is, I consider, impressive since, like I said, the video is half an hour long. And the price has just been increasing. And I guess it doesn't help that there's been some people that, in reply to these, whether on Reddit or on the forums or on the video itself, have been saying, well, I tried this out. I went and increased my EPS, and my DPS jumped from 90K to 97K, for example. So people have tried it, and they've been really successful. It's something a lot of us min-maxers have known about for a long time. But due to new things and new traits that have come out, the ones from the Arbiter and the one from the Nandi, we can really take advantage of some of these things, the power transfer rate, and it gives us options now. For example, before, the kinetic cutting beam and the assimilated module were mandatory because that was one of the few things that actually mitigated the power drain of weapons. Now you don't need it. You can get rid of those, put an extra beam on there, put a different console on there, and you use the traits and power transfer rate to mitigate it. So it doesn't mean that they're not good. It just means that they're not mandatory anymore. You have more options available. And hopefully people will take a look at this video and learn something new. And again, I'd like to point out this in the video I'm talking about the math for beams and for fall. You can take this knowledge and put it to use on cannons as well, the different types of cannons, because the basic mechanic is exactly the same. That's pretty much it.
I can definitely say that looking at this, it seems very perplexing initially, but when you just sit back and listen to it again and again, it starts making sense. And then when I start saying, you know what, let me just slap on another EPS console, or slap on an EPS console on here and see exactly what it does, and then start managing my power levels a bit more, I'm starting to squeak out more of my little Rainbow Bright build, where it's like, oh wow, I can actually start doing 30 and 40K with this thing now easily, and all that I'm not even investing heavily into any gear on. So I can only imagine how much more of a damage increase this will be for players out there who don't know what's available to them. And instead of them struggling when they're trying to do some of these instances with their friends, they're actually going in there and being like, boom, hey guys, this is much easier now. We can actually focus on flying instead of trying to struggle to just do some damage on something and possibly fail this SDF. So I think this is a huge boon for the community. Even if they don't understand the entire concept behind this, they would get the general gist of the idea and say, okay, I need to manage my EPS stat a little bit more in order to be able to boost my overall damage with energy weapons.
There's also the fact that every week, maybe a few times per week, you'll find someone new who's new to the game, new to the end game, and they're asking the question, what's overcapping? How do I overcap? How do I manage my power? And I can't tell you how many times I've gone over and explained it, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys have gone over it multiple times again. Not just you guys, but a lot of the experts out there have, gone over this back and forth. So now, every single time someone comes up and asks this question, you can grab this video and say, hey, watch this. There you go.
This is awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing this and putting this out there. And we're definitely going to have people reference this for their builds going forward. And switching directions here, Cryptic has put out an announcement about armadas and how this will relate to fleets. So let's get a bit of a basic overview here from our Chief of Cheesy Tactics as far as how this is going to impact fleets. So take it away, SLB. What do we have here as far as Armada, and what structure would fleets expect to see out of this, and what benefits would they have?
Okay, so you have, in each Armada, you have the one alpha fleet, 3 betas under it, and then each beta has 3 gammas under it. The fleet at the top, the alpha, gets the largest skill point buff, and the gamma fleets get the largest deal discount buff, as you can see in the spreadsheet Odin just put up. They just changed it today so that there will be 25 tiers, and the tiers are scaling on your combined fleet levels for all of the fleets in the Armada. So currently a maxed out fleet is 47 levels. After 10.5 in the new holding, that will be 56 levels. So in order to get the max bonus, you're going to need a few large fleets to be working together, but the bonuses scale up quite nicely and shouldn't be that much of an issue, hopefully.
So ideally, what would be the scenario where you would see fleets benefiting the most out of this?
You have the maxed out fleets at alphas and betas, and then you have the smaller fleets that are still building up. You have them at gammas to get a massive DIL discount. As you can see at tier 25 on there, if you scroll down to it, that's a 25% reduction in the DIL cost for your projects, for your upgrades. That is massive.
25%. So like a project was like $1 million and change. There's 250,000 plus off of it right there.
And as
that's
Alan,
on top of the fleet mine discounts too.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Jeez. So, and as far as alpha fleets, if some fleet wants to be an alpha, what responsibilities will they have as far as with the entire Armada itself?
They really, the system, each fleet has full control over themselves. So, an alpha, the only power an alpha has is basically they get to set the name of the Armada, they get to set the message of the day, and I believe the other main thing that's going to go at launch is going to be the, they get to set up events for all the fleets in the Armada. Yes, and the logo.
Cool. And also, that while the alpha will manage, the big overview of the Armada itself, they're not going to be nitpicky overlords over every single fleet within the Armada.
Yeah, each fleet has full control. So the other benefit to this system is that anyone in any fleet of the Armada can contribute to any other fleet within the Armada. Each fleet can control what their members can contribute to other fleets. They can block certain items like DIL, and they can block other fleets from contributing to their holdings. They can block specific items, they can block specific holdings, projects. It's really quite nice. Very user-friendly.
And say, for example, if you're a Gamma fleet, you're trying to take advantage of the DIL discount here. Obviously, your initial level is probably going to be small, but when you start leveling up your fleet, and other people start leveling up their fleets as well, you hop into the next tier. Could you set up a project so that only your members can contribute to that specific project, so they can get fleet marks or any of the specific rewards from that?
Yep.
Good, so we won't have to worry about anybody else within the Armada more or less saturation bombing that one project to suck up marks if necessary.
Yep, you can block anyone. So if you're worried about someone from one of the larger fleets that's sitting on tens of thousands of fleet marks, you can just go in, block them from contributing fleet marks, and only your members will be allowed to.
So if this is done right, this could be a win-win for any fleet anywhere.
Yeah, you're going to have a few of the larger fleets, a lot of T5s wanting to be alphas, but in the end, if you want to get the bonuses, you have to work together.
I like it. And thanks for the sheet, by the way. We're going to put a link on this to the description on the show later on. Anybody else have anything to contribute as far as the Armada implementation and the Armada tiers?
One thing I learned in regards to betas and gammas, there isn't a promotion system in effect yet. So if you're a gamma, if you're the alpha and there's a gamma fleet that wants to be promoted up to beta, what actually has to happen is the gamma fleet will have to remove themselves from the Armada and then join back in as the gamma, or vice versa. If you're a beta and you want to be a gamma, same thing. And also I learned that alpha does not have like, you know what, I don't like you, get out of my Armada. I don't believe they have that power. That's something I learned the past couple of days.
From what I understand, the alpha can remove a beta, but an alpha cannot remove a gamma.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So only the people who directly invite the other fleets, their subordinate fleets, will have the power to remove them from that union. Is that
correct?
The understanding? Okay. All right. I like this. I'm honestly excited about this coming in because I'm a member of a small fleet. I love it there. Platinum Fleet, shout out to you guys. Love you. They're just a great group of people to be with. I'm excited to see what the leadership has in store as far as what they're going to do as an Armada. Whether they're going to join one or start one, I'm not sure. I haven't been in touch with the leadership yet to find that one out. But as a small fleet, that's pretty well up there as far as having all of our holdings complete. We would love to be able to see, where we can fit in with this Armada structure based off of who's out there. So this is at least from my perspective, in a small fleet, this is an exciting time here to see, okay, do we join up with a larger fleet, or do we get a collection of smaller fleets together and then start sharing out who's going to be the quote-unquote king of the hill within the Armada structure itself? What you just told me, Alan, though, is kind of a little bit disappointing, is that you have to leave the Armada in order to go up or down a level, which I don't know. I wish there was a way to be able to manage that, but I guess based off of the invitation system, that's probably the only way to do it. But otherwise, that's some good information to have regardless. So I love this. I'm very excited for this coming out. And I would love for you guys to get more information and more details on this so we can share it to our audience. And speaking of what's coming down the pipeline, as far as the Crenum fleet holding, do we have any information off of this? I know our Chief Science Officer is live right now on Tribble looking at the changes to some of the things on here. Give it to us, Captain Snipey.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't got access to a fleet that has the new fleet holding. I've just been tinkering with the announcement on the Tribble patch notes about the damage mod, and it looks like there is a big difference of having a couple of damage mods on your weapons. I'm just about to upload that image that you got there now. That's for a damage ×3 pen, and I am just about to upload as a comparison, a crit D3 pen, so you can just see unbuffed what and fully stacked with improved pedal to the metal, what the damage and DPS off your HUD difference is. So just let me just upload that now, and we can compare. And it looks like that there is a sizable difference. Basically, for those who haven't caught up with the Tribble patch notes yet, Cryptic have made a modification to the damage mod. First of all, increasing its percentage from 2.5% to 3%, but then taking it out of the base damage equation and putting it separately, so that 3% gets added to all your buffs at the end. So it's almost like it's got a category of its own. So if that's the correct terminology.
So if we're looking at this like as a category schema, damage initially was at the lowest category, what we call category 1 right now.
Well, that I'm not sure of, but I believe it was a part of the I believe it was a part of the base damage calculation of the weapon, and then all your buffs and stuff got stacked on top of it. Now they've taken it out of there, increased it by 0.5%, taken it out of there, and stuck it on the end, basically. So it's a proper damage increase, where previously it was very, very much diluted within the damage calculation. So, Odin, if you, I just linked in there what a crit D3 pen with an improved pedal to the metal, fully stacked, looks like.
That's what we're looking at right now.
Sorry, a crit D3 pen unbuffed. It's the last link I put in there.
Yes, that's what we're looking at right now.
And then if you can look at the first link.
So we're looking at, all right, for this array, we're looking at...
Oh, actually, sorry, that's my bad. I beg your pardon. Because I was doing this while talking. Can't do two things at once, obviously.
Well, you do live in Australia.
Indeed.
So...
All right, so give us...
we'll go the other way around, okay? So just... 2 seconds for a new link, and you'll see if you can go back to the second link I sent, so you can look at a damage 3 pen fully buffed.
So we're looking at
look at numbers there. So you can see that's 4425 anti-proton damage and 3540 DPS. So what I mean by fully buffed, it's attack pattern Omega 3, attack fleet 3, attack pattern Alpha 3. The Tier 4 Iconian trait, emergency powder weapons 2, and TAC team 1, and that's with improved pedal to the metal. Okay, so that's what those figures look like. Compared to a crit D3 pen, exactly the same conditions. Odin's just going to put that up now. You can see the DPS is about 200, 250 different. So, yeah, there is definitely a noticeable difference now with damage. Now, what this actually looks like in battle conditions, look, I don't know yet. I've just come on here. I've just upgraded some beans. I've just been playing around while the show's been going. So it'd be interesting to see how this stacks up with crit with the crit D mod. It'd be very interesting to see. Still too early to tell, but that's just a quick glimpse, quick and nasty glimpse at the changes to the damage mod. And sorry, for your reference to those are ultra rare. They're not epic, so it's a crit D3 pen ultra rare and a damage 3 pen ultra rare.
Very interesting. All right, so I was looking on Reddit, and Bordicus was commenting on the thread about the damage, of course, and he mentions that the damage mod does not stack, it's sequential. So it's not, if one damage mod is 3%, two damage mods are not 6%. It's actually 3.09. Let me see if I can actually dig up his comment again. It's here somewhere.
And you'll be able to screen share that over with everybody else if you want to link that.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't mention any percentages, because I wasn't sure it was a flat 9% increase. So that's why I didn't mention any percentages.
So this is good information. We're literally getting this live as we're going over this. Now, is there any other changes that we've noticed within the fleet holding while we're getting Chief Intelligence Officer?
Okay, just give me a second here
Sure.
to do the screen share, triple release notes, start screen share. All right, can you see this? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it. Can you just zoom in for us, please?
Okay, 1 second. So you can see it. Is the Zoom working for you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see it's going to be a little wacky because each applies at the end sequentially. So 2 damage mods are actually going to be, first one 3%, second one is going to be 3.09%. Third one is going to be 3.18. I don't know if that actually works mathematically. That's okay. He's right. That is more than a little wacky. So what you're looking at here then is probably you just need 1 mod on there. You don't need more than 1. So probably something really good would be...
That's definitely what it looks like, yes.
Yeah. So you get a damage mod when you take your weapon to Epic.
Yes.
And that is probably the only damage mod that you need. Of course, this is... can we call it a category 5 because it's after everything, or does it go with category 4 with sensor analysis? I'm not sure. But even then, even if it's like a category 4 or a category 5, even that 1.18, or let's say 0.2, okay, just round it up, 0.2 or 0.1, that is still a significant buff. So I'm not sure, it's still too early to tell, but we need some more testing, but it looks very promising.
So, all right, 2 things. 1, so those people who are crafting and getting these crit D2 or crit D3 damage modifiers should probably hold on to those, shouldn't they?
Bit too early to tell that. Based on that information, I would probably say that a crit D3 pen with damage rules with the at Epic will still more than likely be the king. But if you are attempting an upgrade of a crit D2 pen and it gets a damage mod, it's not an automatic put it on the exchange anymore sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's one that it'll be a competitive beam more than likely.
And the second thing I wanted to say, for those who don't know or don't understand yet, is there some sort of write-up or video that somebody's done explaining what these quote-unquote categories of damages are? I know this is something that we've all colloquially named in order to be able to put these type of damage multipliers in their own little containers and in order to easily explain what they do and how they're affecting other different types of buffs. Can we get a brief rundown of what these categories are?
Very briefly, you have what we call the category 1, which is what most buffs are. These are like the buffs to base damage. Including in that is the weapon power buff. And the weapon power, I believe, gets applied after everything else, after all the other base damages. And you have what we call the category 2 buffs, which would be like the attack pattern Omega, for example. And I believe emergency power to weapons is Cat 2, Alpha is Cat 2, most of those are Cat 2. You have the Category 3 buffs, which would be the weapon buffs themselves. So cannon rapid fire, scatter volley, torp spread, high yield, fire at will. Those are the Category 3. And then you have the Category 4, and I think there's only 2 Category 4 buffs. I don't know what the second one is, but the first one is sensor analysis. And now we have damage that's been added on there. There is a write-up somewhere. I just don't know where it is at the moment. I can't remember.
It was done by he's known as Majesta Dog on the Reddit forums, or our mate Vel, who's very active in Reddit chat. So he's the one who defined those categories in that way. So I believe he's actually over here in Triple as well.
Yeah, Vel would be our chief engineering officer. He sometimes pops on the show.
Yes, he is. Thank you very much for that brief introduction on what they are. And as soon as we can get a link from Vel, we'll be able to put that in the description as well. So Vel, if you're listening, shoot it to us. Thank you. And leading up to this, is there anything else that we need to pay attention to as far as the fleet holdings are concerned? Has anything changed as far as what's needed to be able to start advancing the fleet holdings?
That I can't say since I've only just come over here. It looks like the graphics for the fleet holdings and for a lot of the icons are a little bit more getting towards their final state. That's the most obvious thing. But as far as stuff changed to the fleet holding itself and the Armada system, there are the patch notes, but I haven't actually experienced those changes yet. So yeah, so I can't speak to that at the moment. I'm sorry.
By the way, I just want to point out the changes that they did to damage was dropped in the previous patch. They just didn't mention it. Strangely enough, we actually, some of us noticed this over the weekend as we were doing some testing. A bunch of us were doing a whole bunch of testing this weekend on different things, where we discovered quite a number of bugs, but we found out that the damage mod was acting differently, and it was officially announced today, strangely enough.
Interesting indeed. All right, so talking about Crenum holding, remember when we invited Alan over to be able to say, hey, you know what? It'd be nice if you actually did a video on this new holding here and see what we can do. The man went and did it in such a way that'll probably leave people disappointed in seeing the real thing, because it is that good. It is that good of a video. I mean, you should probably be working in this industry here for, I have no idea, man, but you just should be doing all the promo videos for Cryptic, period, hands down, done. So, because it's awesome. If I was a new player just watching this, I'd be more excited about this game. Like, yeah, I want to see that. I want to keep seeing that. I want to keep doing that. I want to play with these people. Get me in there. Could you just talk about the inspiration that you've done with this video here, and where you got each one of these shots, or what gave you the idea to say, this is the shot I need to place here, this is the moment I need to bring it up here?
Well, well, I know that there is a lot of pictures floating around and showing off the different sections of the new holding, and figured, you know what, I'm gonna hop on a Tribble and see if I can find this in Tier 3 and just give like a visual, like video tour of it, and really like change the field of view so you get like a full aspect of like how everything looks, because like the photos that are being leaked are nice, but it's nice to get the nice like camera moving around kind of view where everything is. So I thought that would be good and help people get excited for this new fleet holding coming out. Try and don't worry too much about the grinding portion of it, but embrace the end result that you'll get once all your hard work is done.
I wish I could show this to everybody here right now, but it would take away from the quality, both audio as well as visual from it. I'm still flabbergasted right now, if you can't tell, because I'm watching this thing here on another screen, and it's just gorgeous. It's awesome. People will check this out. People will love it. People will be in awe with this thing. Are you going to have anything planned in the near future, or it's kind of wait until inspiration hits you and then you just take it?
Yeah, I've kind of always been just wait for inspiration to hit and then I take it. I'm gonna try and plan a couple of things. Maybe a little focus on like Foundry, like we talked about last week, kind of featuring some RP-related Foundry things, like one of our members from my fleet actually made a brig that spectacular, but just be able to showcase that kind of thing for the RP folks, so they know where to go in Foundry to do I'm going to say the I word again, increase their immersion in their scenes. And so that's an idea that I have going around in my head right now, but I'm planning it out. As for cinematic trailers like these, I usually just wait until I get inspired by something and then I just run with it. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know if any of the other guys around here want to make a comment on the video that they saw, but yeah, I'm loving it.
It was epic.
Mind-boggling.
It was epic. There's no other word for it.
It was very pretty.
Yeah, he's got pretty mouth. Yeah.
Very pretty.
It was really good. So no, I'm really excited about that, and to the point, you know what, Alan, I think we should put our heads together at some point and collaborate on some videos.
I'm down for that.
You heard it first on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with, because this is going to be so good. Anyway.
Cam did show me that you can do this video here is actually the first video that I did in render scale 2. Normally all my videos are done in render scale 1 because I'm a little afraid of it chopping during capture and that, but Cam showed me a couple of his videos that he had done, and he told me that they were done in render scale 2. I'm like, wow, those are really smooth. So I tried it out, and all of these shots, there's one shot. There's the officer in front of the engine with the steam coming down. I had to change that to render scale 1 just because there's just too much going on in that scene, and it was actually chopping demo record a bit. But yeah, no. So yeah, that's the first video done in render scale 3, and the opening shot with the ship was actually inspired by Timberwolf here. He gave me that idea. So thanks, man.
Not a problem.
Cool.
All right. Well, any gentlemen, you have anything else you want to add or say before we close out this episode of the show?
Underwear.
Lots of it.
Torpedoes.
You know it.
Just real quick, if anyone is going to Tribble to check out the fleet holding for themselves, and you've watched the video, you'll know some things are missing. They've added some effects to the 16-person conference room, our peers. It can sit 16 people. They've added bookcases and a light in the room so it's not so dark, but the other rooms have kind of lost the fancy thing that's shown in the video. So I'm hoping that's a bug that's expected with Tribble and that it gets fixed and it's there for holodeck release when 10.5 comes out, whenever that comes out. But yeah, it's yeah, if you want to see what it'll actually look like right now, check out the video.
Very soon.
Well, one other question I wanted to have. The gentleman who does all your Foundry stuff, I forgot his name. Is he planning on doing anything else?
Actually, before it came on, I had talked to him about the idea that I had about doing Foundry stuff on YouTube, and he said he's backlogged right now. So I think we're in the middle of our Iconian arc right now, and I think people are hitting him up for a lot of missions to create. So, yeah, I'll put his at handle in. Actually, I think it's at Casper. So that's CASPR 383. If you look him up on Foundry, you'll see the stuff that he made there. If you wanted, I talked about a mission where there was dead bodies floating around. If you want to check that one out, I believe the mission is called Saladin. So look up Saladin or look up his at handle, and you'll find it, and check out the dead floating bodies.
Is that like based on the historical character, or is that like a paladin that really likes vegetables?
It's based on a ship that went missing. I forget how many years ago, but it reappears and it's all broken and everybody dead.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for the information there. We'll definitely be checking out Casper. And just to make sure I have it correct, it's at CASPR 383.
That's the one.
All right, perfect. Everybody who's listening, you want to do Foundry missions, check out this man's Foundry missions. Give it an honest rating, but obviously because we're highlighting on the show, there's got to be some good stuff there, right? Right.
Right.
Still, give it an honest rating, play it, enjoy it. Hope you all enjoy it, honestly. Thank you again, Alan, for coming on the show and for having such a quick turnaround from when you say, hey, you know what, let's showcase your next video. Guess what? We're showcasing his next video that next week.
Yeah, I got that done in like 5 hours, I think.
Well, you must have had a lot of practice before and others, because that thing it just looks, it's too good for words, man. I'm still lost in thinking about it.
I actually messed it up the first time. Like, I ran Fraps and I ran it at half quality, so I went to start throwing everything back into Vegas Pro, and it all looked blurry. I'm like, what the hell? And so I went to, I had to redo some of the shots anyway, and when I opened up Fraps, I noticed the error. I'm like, oh, okay, well, now I got to redo all the demo record files, and yeah. But hey, it's done. I hope everybody likes it.
I'm sure they will. So thank you very much for Alan of Zeph for showing up. Thank you very much from our Chief Logistics Officer, Captain Timberwolf. Oh, any new videos that you have up on your channel right now?
Actually, yes, we've got one new one I posted about a day and a half ago. It has to do with the Chronodon Jolt. I'll say bug, or maybe just fun. I'll say fun. I've got a few coming down the pipeline with my science builds. I've actually got an interesting video for ISA. I'm not going to discuss it just yet, but if it works properly, it's going to be a new way to run it. There's plenty of stuff coming down the pipeline, things you wouldn't expect.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to see it. Can't wait to see it. Do you guys have anything else coming up on your channels, gentlemen, aside from Captain Sarcasm Detector? Nope. Silence. Golden. Good.
Well,
right.
I don't have any videos planned for the next short while, but my sources tell me, my informants tell me, that there's going to be something in regards to the Continuum this Friday, maybe?
What? Why was I not given the memo?
He never gives out memos.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be able to see what we can have revealed, and if it's hot stuff, expect a show on it, or at least as quickly as we can. We'll get information on it and put it out there. So thank you, everybody who joined us listening into the show. We'll post the links up on here for everybody to be able to check out, not just the video, not just the spreadsheets, but all the information that we have, plus the Continuum website, and anything else that you have of interest that you want to share with us concerning Star Trek Online. Please feel free to post on the comment section. Let us know what you see out there. Let us know if you find something that's interesting that you think the rest of the community should know about. posted on here, we'll be able to focus a spotlight on them and let them have their moment in the sun and everybody else to be able to see what good they're doing for the STO community. On behalf of Captain Timberwolf, Captain SarcasmDetector, Captain Snipey, and Captain Chief of Cheesy Tactics, SOB, man, we're going to see you in PvP. This is Captain Marshall, signing out.